Once upon a time, inside a quiet room that looked out over a vast, sunlit valley, an old battle was being fought. It wasn't a battle fought with swords or shields, but a quiet, invisible war between a tired mind and a stubborn heart. For years, they had lived together in the same house, but they never could agree on the layout. The mind was a master mechanic. It sat at a massive control console, surrounded by glowing screens, ledger books, and endless rows of historical files. It kept the doors locked, tracked the perimeters, and analyzed every single piece of data that drifted into the station. The mind believed that if it just mapped out every grid perfectly, it could keep the entire world safe, orderly, and under control. The heart, on the other hand, was shaped like a rare, jet-black quartz crystal. It was solid, deep, and shot through with shimmering red lines that looked like drops of pure life. The mind always told the heart it was far too fragile for the outside world. And for a long time, the heart believed it. Every time the station doors opened, different travelers would pass through, and each one seemed to break off another tiny piece of the black crystal to take with them. Eventually, the mind looked down at the ledger and sighed. "There is nothing left of you," the mind said to the heart. "You are completely empty." But the heart just beat quietly, holding on to its secret point. One afternoon, a traveler stopped right outside the station. The mind immediately went to work, pulling up data sheets, flashing warning lights, and trying to analyze if this new person was a friend or a hidden trap. The mind and the heart began to fight, their voices echoing loudly off the walls of the room. "It's a trick," the mind shouted, locking down the security bars. "Look at the data lines." The heart had finally had enough. It didn't want to wait for another data audit. It didn't want to analyze the loopholes anymore. With a sudden, magnificent burst of energy, the heart did something completely unexpected. It jumped right out of its comfortable seat in the chest. On its way out, it accidentally bumped the mind right in the nose, flipped a tiny thumb up in the air, and dropped flat onto the floor. To the mind's absolute amazement, the black crystal wasn't broken or empty at all. As it stood up on the floorboards, it grew a pair of small arms, tiny feet, and a wide, brilliant smile. It was completely whole. Without looking back at the control console, the little heart went hop, skipping, and jumping right across the threshold, landing safely into the traveler's open arms. The mind stood completely frozen at the window, watching the little crystal walk away into the sunlight. For the first time in years, the room went entirely quiet. The mind realized it had lost the argument, and in a moment of stubborn frustration, it marched over to the front entrance and slammed the heavy oak doors shut with a loud thud. "Fine," the mind grumbled, locking the deadbolts. "We will do this my way." A few days later, a familiar knock echoed on the glass. The mind looked out through the surveillance loop. Standing on the porch was an old, familiar friend from a past timeline, an ex-companion who knew the layout of the house by heart. The mind felt a wave of relief. It opened the door, welcomed the familiar routine back into the kitchen, and sat back down at the desk. Up on the hill, far away from the locked doors and the glowing screens, the little black crystal heart was sitting by the edge of a clear, sparkling marsh. It was watching the water lilies unfold under the July sun, completely free from the burden of tracking the street lines. And down in the quiet room, the mind sat back in its chair, looking at the silent doorway. It finally understood that no matter how many pieces the world tries to take, the heart always knows exactly when to jump, how to heal itself, and where it truly belongs. Well, that's a nice story, but my heart and mind left me now. Everyone he tells me to use something I no longer have. I thought with no heart or mind I would be at pace. I'm supposed to have no mind and just go with the flow, an almost empty shell with a little bit of soul so hidden you can barely tell it's there. We will try this version.